Okay, so here we are for the first show of Minifan Matchup. We have 2 weeks of mixing up some people who have been on the YouTube, which is exciting because there are some you haven't done show with yet, and you're excited to meet some other people. I was hoping Blind Mike's penis would be one of the people on. I wanted the first exclusive, but we missed out on that. That's okay. Allison is here. Hello.
Hey.
And Jamie from Good Morning in Australia, correct? Do I have that right? Morning.
Yeah, nice and early. It's like 8 a.m. here, so good morning.
Oh, nice. Start your day off with the ladies.
Yep, straight into it.
Brandy, Blind Mike's groupie, was signed up for this. We're not sure why she's not here, but I hope everything's okay, of course. Yeah. I haven't heard much from her. So if everyone's as depressed as I am, we have no shows for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to keep in the world a little bit, but sorry, we're gonna disappoint you because we're not gonna make up for that void.
No one can.
We'll do our best. But
they said to check your emails today, people. Check your emails. Is everyone as bad an email checker as I am? I'm awful.
So. As soon as I get a notification, I check it. I can't have the little one sitting up. It drives me crazy.
Oh, I have to do that then because I don't get a notice. I wait for Twitter to tell me, and I want to be first. Of course, Allison.
My work email is something I can't ignore, and everything's filed into neat little folders. When it comes to personal email, it's like a free for all because all I get is spam. So it's like, what is the
Shopping.
point? But, yeah. So I have a couple of email accounts, personal email accounts. One I primarily use for school for my son or like more professional things, and that's the one it goes to. So I do tend to check that at the end of the day. So yeah. I'm a little bit better about that, but the spam, I get 60 spam emails a day. I can't keep up with that.
No, I agree. It sounds like something's coming tonight, so I'm very excited because we were kind of left hanging, you guys. We're in the middle of drama. People are off and everyone's speculating and going crazy. I'm assuming everyone saw the Barstool rundown last night.
Oh, did I? I was not happy.
You were not happy. Okay, let us know what's going on.
I was not happy. Well, so I don't know. It just seemed like a venting session, and it seems like there's two sides, right? And this has been going on for like a couple of weeks now. I was actually trying to explain the situation to somebody, and I just gave up. But I mean, I think first and foremost, I didn't really appreciate how Dave called Kirk crazy at least a dozen times and just kind of tried to pass off the entire situation about it being about Kirk's personality and, how he is to work with. And it was just, it's sort of like, I get it. And when you work with people or you're in charge of people, these things come up sometimes and you have disagreements. But to me, instead of complaining about it, it would be like, let's find a solution to the problem. Like, okay, let's look at what happened here and how can we make sure that there's harmony in our world. And, I think what they said about him losing, his show doesn't gain revenue, whereas, somebody like Ellie's show or Call Her Daddy or whatever are big moneymakers for them. Maybe that happened overnight. I mean, I know Call Her Daddy was a huge success right from the gate. I don't know as much about Ellie because I can't personally, it's just not for me. I can't listen to it. Yep. I don't really understand the appeal, but why don't you put some sales effort and some more stuff behind Kirk and continue to help building him. He's done a lot. He's put in a lot of effort. He does all these different shows. He does longer shows. He builds audiences. And, I'm sure it's hard to tell because you can't, numbers of downloads isn't public or anything, but I'm sure that it's increased since he started. I mean, how could it not? And instead of bitching about it, like maybe help the guy, create something that does make revenue.
Yeah, Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. Like he's a pretty honest guy, Dave. He doesn't really lie. So when he says it's losing money, I kind of believe him, but it's not Kirk and Steve's fault. Like Steve works his ass off trying to get people like ads for the show. If they actually put some resources they put into Ellie's show or Call Her Daddy into it, then hey, maybe it might make a profit. But at the moment, it seems like they just don't care. They leave Steve to do all the work of a producer, a sales guy, just, the ultimate producer. And he bitches and whinges why they don't make money. Well, they don't make money because you don't really care about him. You don't put any effort in. You don't give him a sales staff. It's just it's pretty much hypocritical. Like, how is Steve supposed to produce the best podcast in the world and then at the same time sell ads for it? They have a whole sales division there. If they put one guy part-time on it, it would save Steve a shit ton of time. Or maybe they can give him a little bit extra budget to hire their own sales guy. I've heard Dave Cullinan's a pretty good salesman, so give him a chance.
We have heard. Yeah, in between that rundown and the Mike and the Minifans we saw and the last time Kirk has spoke to us, it just seems like both sides have checked out, and they're kind of going, well, I guess we'll just plug along, but it's hard to have faith in what's to come at Barstool when this kind of lingering attitude seems to be going on, and I don't blame Kirk for it. I mean, I would have the same attitude. Like, you're not doing me any favors, you're not helping me out, so why should I keep trying?
Well, the claim that they're losing, like, oh, sorry, Lauren.
No, you're fine.
No, I was just gonna say, not only that, but on the rundown last night too, there was no mention of what happened with Ellie at all.
Nope.
Or
they're defending
why,
her, if anything.
Right. And that is a huge piece of what's happened here. And I think that was, I mean, maybe he was just in the heat of the moment and forgot. I don't know how you forget that, but that's a huge thing not to bring up in this conversation about what's happening. I thought that was a big miss. I think the other two things that stuck out for me was one, obviously KFC and Dave have some loyalty to K Marco because he's been there for so long. I mean, that seemed to be the theme. Like, we're not going to fire this guy because he's been here for 10 years and he was here at the start. It's like, well, people mess up, like, and people do things that warrant firing. It doesn't have anything to do with their tenure sometimes. Yeah. You kind of have to look at it a little bit more logically. And I guess my last takeaway was that Big Cat was awesome. I like Big Cat a lot.
Yeah.
Well, he was obviously trying to appease everyone, so he almost had a little bit of blind Mike attitude there, going back and forth, and but they're okay, and this is okay. But yes, he's very, very likable. Jamie, did you have anything to add? Sorry.
Yeah, just the Big Cat thing. He he continues to step up for the Minifans. He understands how we all link in as we are stoolies. Like, I was a stoolie as well as a Kirk fan, and then when it all sort of came together, I just became an Aussie stoolie with a Minifan backing. But now I just feel like, fuck Barstool. Like, they've got the best podcast in the network, and they put effort into it. It could be huge, bigger than Call of Daddy, probably bigger than Part of My Take. And now I'm just praying for the day he goes to subscription service, because I'll pay whatever it is. I'll pay $50 a month. I don't give a damn. Not to give Steve any ideas, but
whoa there,
Steve,
calm down.
Take it easy on us poor folk, please.
I mean, I prefer $10.99, but
yeah,
whatever. Like Stephen Providence said on the OG Minifans the other day, or the emergency Mike and the Minifans, I think it was, like, whatever it costs me, I'll figure out a way to pay it, because I'll follow this guy till the end of his career.
No, I agree. They've thrown out some, or, well, not they, but we've heard some talk of the different tiers of subscription service, which I think is a great idea.
Yep.
I am subscribed to one Patreon right now, and I started at the lowest level, and they rope you in, because in the free podcast, they always say, oh, but you'll hear this on our Patreon. And I kept going, oh, I have to hear what's on the Patreon. So before I know it, yes, they get my $5 a month, and it's, I think, 6 extra hours a week of content. Imagine how much content Kirk does. I mean, almost 6 hours a day between everything on YouTube and the long shows. And I mean, the price could be pretty much anything and worth it, because pretty much all other podcasts are destroyed for us at this point, because the standard is high.
My thought
Allison, are you ready for subscription service?
I mean, yeah, I'm ready for whatever they're going to do. I just don't want to see the podcast go away. I think some of us have some lingering bad memories from what happened at EEI with Kirk, when he just disappeared one day and never came back. And we waited every single day for that to happen. I think he's built something great here, and he's really shown, what he can do by himself without Jerry Callahan or without a big, backing behind him. I think the only thing is that, and I'm sure they've got this all figured out because they're smart guys, but, doing your own thing is a lot more complicated than working with a bigger company that kind of has your back. Well, supposedly has your back on the business side of things, right? So the benefit of being with a company like Barstool is that you don't have to deal with like lawyers and legal and, the stuff with the Joe Curtatone situation. Like he was all set basically. And you don't have to deal with the business side and the sales side, supposedly the sales side, poor Steve. I think that's the kind of downside to it. So will that suck up more of his time and resource when he just wants to come in and do a show? Who knows? You probably have to hire more people. I'm sure Steve is very well versed in this because Howie Carr went to his own network. So I'm sure that there was a lot of that going on too. But yeah, I mean, would that take away from anything? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But, it's just something to think about, when you go to your own model. Yes, you have the freedom to say what you want and you're your own boss, which seems to be a better situation for Kirk. Yep. But, is it worth all the stuff that you have to do on the side?
But at the other point could be it's total freedom on, in that audio is not getting cut. Erica Nardini's not calling saying, Kirk was mean to me. Can you cut this off? I'm sorry, but this woman has been praised for a year. And what Kirk has always had nice to say about her, I'm sure is true. She answers the calls from him. She supported him. But if anyone listened to the podcast that she did with DC, she was not familiar with his content, because if she thought he was being mean to her in that podcast, what was it, last Friday, I don't think she's aware of what he is about, because that was, I'm sitting there going, did I miss something? Do I have a third edited version that he said something else? Because this, and he said if she wants to put on the act like she's a tough girl who can hang with the boys, you have to be a little thicker skinned than that. Jamie, what did you think?
Yeah, that when she did the podcast with DEC, it's almost like she doesn't know who Kirk is. She didn't know how long he'd been on radio for, didn't know the situation why he was gone, and then she claims to be this massive fan of Kirk. She loves Kirk. She loves the show. I don't think she listens. I think she listened a couple of times, and it might have been a fun episode, but she needs to understand that, Dave Portnoy said it on the rundown. If you're in content, you're a target of any show. Kirk is no different to that. Yeah, she's the CEO, but in his eyes, she wronged him, and he's going to go at her, and she needs to just roll with the punches, just take it, and know that probably in a couple of days' time, he's going to be really positive about her again because she would have done something good for him. But she just can't react like, oh, woe is me, you can't come at me, blah, blah, blah. Your content, he's attacked so many other shows 1,000 times worse, like look at The Breakfast Show. She just needs to accept that this is Kirk, this is what he's going to do. You wronged me, I'm going to go at you. And then with that, the Minifans come at you, and we probably won't stop. I know I haven't.
Yeah, right. Allison, what do you think of Erica?
This is a tough one. I actually really like Erica. I think, under normal circumstances, and I think her podcast has been pretty good. I think Kirk, I remember before it was scrubbed, he called her like moron CEO or something like that. It's just, if you know Kirk, like you kind of know what his cycle of rants are. I'm not sure what their relationship is behind the scenes. It seems like they have a lot of respect for each other. I think, to Erica's credit, it's probably really hard to keep up with every single podcast that is on Barstool, just given her, the depth of her job. I would say from the outside, it just looks kind of messy. Barstool is kind of like a vigilante sort of media company in that, they're different from everyone else. And I think that's the appeal of them. And I think that's why Kirk did fit in well there, from the start, because nobody's going to really censor him, and nobody's going to care about what he says about Bob Murchison or whoever, the Globe or the Red Sox. And that's why it seemed like it was a good fit. But, just from the outside, it just seems like there was no like business processes or order to, dealing with the whole Zonker K. Mirko situation. And I understand that sometimes they do some of this stuff for publicity. I think that's a little bit of the brilliance of Barstool. Sometimes they take things that, other companies would sweep under the rug and make them public and make a lot of money off of it. But this wasn't really the time for that. It's a more serious issue. It goes way back. And I think it was John Featherston was on a DEC's podcast, which I really liked this week, just saying, with the mental health considerations and just everything that Kirk's been through in the past, you need to handle it a little bit differently. And it just didn't seem professional.
No, I agree with that. I will say one more thing about when Erica was on DEC's podcast, and I think it was very cool that she went on there, even if she kind of was, what do you want to say, padding her knowledge and, being very enthusiastic about the fan base, like she knew more about it, that's fine. But do you think if that CEO was a man and gave that same podcast, he would have got the same amount of praise for it?
No, I would have shit on him just the same. I don't care. Like, you can't say that you know someone.
People would have thought it was a little more boring, though.
Some people might have.
More boring.
I mean, I like Erica. Like Alison said, I listened to that podcast. I think the funniest bits are the bits at the start where it's like the outtakes. But no matter who it was, if it was their old CEO, I don't even know who he was. I came in after Erica came in, but I still would have shit on him. Like, you can't say Kirk and then say, oh yeah, he's been doing radio for 2 years, like, or 3 years, whatever she said, when he'd been at EI for like 6 at the time. Like, you need to, especially with the Minifans, facts are important. We'll bang on that.
That's true. Okay, so does anyone have anything extra to add to the Barstool and the drama and, what's next? I think I'm anxious to see what they'll say next, of course. Alison, go ahead.
I really have no idea what's going to happen next. I feel like I could go either way, just kind of depending on some of the situations that have gone on in the past. It's really disappointing. Whatever they end up doing, I'll be there. So it doesn't really matter. I just hope, they can figure it out and end peacefully and Kirk can just do his thing. That's the bottom line.
Jamie?
My thought with the subscription service, I've been thinking about this a lot, which is crazy. I have other things to think about, but does it open up the opportunity to maybe bring Jerry's podcast into that subscription service? Bring them together again, but keep it separate. Yeah? Good, I'm not the only crazy person.
No, I thought about that too, but I feel like they just can't talk about business stuff together. Like, no. I think it just seems like their friendship, if they're going to have a friendship or a relationship, they can't do business together.
They need to be what it is now, yeah. The only thing I could think of is imagine Steve talking to Cullinane about business side of the whole subscription service. Like, that'd be a fly on the wall conversation.
We need a show for that. Yes, that should be hit on YouTube for sure. Yep. Very animated on one end, very professional on the other. So that sounds
a lot of swear words. Like,
okay.
I was just going to say, I think Kirk may have seen this coming. That's why he picked Steve. He's seen the idea of a subscription service. He knows Steve has an experience in dealing with it. So he brought Steve in, not just because he's a good producer, but because he's really good with the business side. And he might be able to make this work and make it huge.
Yeah, I think Kirk, he knows people from the minute he meets them. He knows if someone walks into his studio, if they could be good on the air within probably 10 seconds. And the same with, be it a salesperson, a producer, probably can sniff out the good ones from the bad ones very, very quick. He has an eye for this kind of stuff. That's part of his talent. Yes, when he gets behind a microphone, he's very entertaining, but just awareness and a radar is what I like to call it. Yeah. He has good radar. So, that's why he has the team that he has. Mike, I guess, got lucky. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
that's exactly why Blind Mike needs to realize he's good. Like, Kirk knows good people.
Okay, so I wanted to switch gears because I've never done a show with Jamie. So I want to ask you this. You can say that.
Oh, did we lose Lauren?
I think we lost Lauren.
Sorry.
Oh, she's back.
I thought it was my
sorry. Oh my gosh, my children. Okay. So I'm not super geography savvy, okay?
All right.
You're in Australia. Now I can name maybe 4 cities in Australia.
All right.
and I don't know where they are if I looked at a map. Are you guys well versed like with states? Like if I told you like Allison lives in Utah, she doesn't live in Utah, people don't go find her. Would you know like where that is compared to where like Kirk's studio is? Or is it just the US is the US?
Utah, not so much. I know a lot of states, but yeah, some smaller ones like Utah. I know the Dakotas now only because of Sheldon. But yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
slowly learning. As more people come into the
Okay.
world and you find them, then I'm figuring it out.
I was just curious. I don't know if people know that from other places. So, and even I lived in Georgia for a little while, which is down south. I don't know if you know
Near
that
Florida.
one.
Yep.
And when I would tell people that I'm from Maine, actually I would say I was from Boston because it was the closest place
Just
they
easier.
could actually, relate to. So I'm like, yeah, I'm from Boston, even though that's not even close to true, but nobody knew what I was talking about down there. So
Yeah,
Well,
anytime
that's
I've traveled internationally, like I always just say like it's near New York because everyone knows where New York and LA is, so it's
right.
not near LA. Yeah.
where I live, because I'm out in the country, it's just easy to say where the next biggest town is. So I'm from a place called Jasper's Brush, but Berry is where everyone knows because that's where all the tourists go on the weekend. So I just say, oh yeah, I live at Berry. There's no
I've
point
never heard
saying where I
any of
am.
that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're not big. It's country towns. Like
Are you near the big curved building with all the little
I work near there. I drive past there on my train probably 5-6 times a day. But no, I'm like 2 hours south of there. So yeah, I have a long
now
trip
are you
into work
near
every
the
day.
ocean?
Yeah, it's actually from where I look, I can see the ocean from here. So I'm up on like a hill. We call it Mouse
Nice.
Knob, the property, and yeah, about 2 k's or 1.2 miles to my right, I can see the ocean. So in between two giant mountains. So
Mr. Oceanfront property over here. Well, I guess because it's an
not bad.
island, it's probably a little bit more common, huh?
Yeah, and everyone, like all the big cities are on the coast, so
Yeah.
it's very uninhabitable in the middle. Like it's just
I've
desert.
been to the middle. I actually really liked it, but yes.
It's beautiful. It's definitely beautiful. It's a bit like Nevada, just a bit more orange.
With a lot more bugs that fly at your eyes and things.
Oh, flies are the worst.
Yeah.
Then the little gnat flies are even worse. Like you drive the Nullarbor, which is like from my state, New South Wales, over to Western Australia. It's like an 8-9 hour drive, and you have to wash your car at each stop because you get that many bugs on the window. You just can't keep up. Then you got to look at emus, camels.
I rode a camel in Australia.
Oh, really? I've not ridden one yet. I've ridden plenty of horses and cows. I ride horses and cows, but I've never ridden a camel.
I'm sure I'm going to regret saying that pretty soon.
The live chat's kind of quiet.
Yeah. What about the scuba? Have you done the scuba diving in the water? Because everyone knows how I feel about this.
There's a
Where
place
you're like,
up in.
are you brushing up with slimy creatures?
I was scuba diving up north where my family lives, and I was just swimming. It was a bit a wave had just hit the rocks, and I was going through. I was following a little firefish it was a beautiful purple and orange fish, and I sort of turned around, and there was this giant wobbegong shark. Its head was about probably that big, just sitting right next to me. I didn't notice because of all the wash up. They're pretty harmless, like unless you really actively try to piss them off, they won't do anything. And I just sort of just swimming. As I turned, I saw it, and I'm like, fuck. And I just immediately headed to the rock, climbed up the rock, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, there's
cool,
way too many things. There's way too many things in Australia that can kill you, like ocean crocodiles, and yeah, no, I'm all set with all that.
I'm nowhere near the crocodiles. They're north.
Yeah. Whew.
Good
Leonard
evening.
wants in on the Australia talk.
Well, yeah, you're talking about Australia, so I thought I'd bounce in. Good for the changeover.
Yes.
Yeah, 24 minutes.
So I think it's great that we've got the Minifan mashup going. So thank you three for starting it. I mean, I was struggling to get the first night's lineup together, but the rest of the week's pretty full.
Yeah, it was weird being the lead-off show.
Yeah, I know. I hope we started off okay.
Yeah. It's going well. So do you two know much about Australia? Like, is it just kind of like I don't know, because I don't even think Micah knows where Australia is. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so I lived in California for a few years and took the advantage of being on the West Coast to go. And so I've been to probably the most of the eastern part of the country, not the western part of the country. But we started in Uluru, right?
Yep.
Uluru, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Ayers Rock to us,
Yeah.
I've got an
Western
idea
people.
about Uluru. Basically, it's actually been like you can't go up there unless you're a native Australian. But I was thinking, maybe they'd make an exception for Kirk if he were to come out and do a live show because, he is podcast Jesus. And I think if maybe a show on top of Uluru might be something special, unique, highly illegal as well.
That could work, yeah.
Highly illegal.
I'm not sure that the native people would like it very much, but
No, it would be a good view.
it would be a good view.
He should
Well, I'm
come
not
down to my
familiar at all with Australia other than watching 90 Day Fiancé, which I'm going to pump the next show that we're doing. Allison and I, along with Latino Kirk, Tara, and Robinson's B&B, are doing a 90 Day Fiancé episode on the YouTube. So
That's this Sunday. This Sunday at 6 p.m. Is that an Australian show?
It's
no,
not.
Okay.
I've never heard of it.
but they travel to different countries. So I've now seen Australia. That's my travel channel. It's basically going to be 30 minutes of us making fun of people. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Laura, you never even left Maine. I think you said the previous show that. I mean, have you been to New York? Have you been to California? Tell us.
She lived in
I've
Georgia.
never been to a different time zone. I've been south, all the way south in the U.S. down to Florida, but I've never been in a different time zone. So
That's fucking wild. That is fucking wild. Well, what happened?
maybe someday.
I haven't either. Oh no, I've been to Perth. That's 2 hours back or whatever. But most of
Did
my
you
life
say
it's been on
Perth?
the East Coast. Perth,
Call
yeah.
it
Perth.
Perth?
Yeah.
Perth.
That's what we call menners in the chat.
What?
Perth.
This might be a language barrier. I don't know.
I think it is.
So if the show comes down to Australia, you guys going to come out here? I think it should be done in my little town. Not a massive population, so it'd be perfect.
I would love to go back.
I don't know if I can swing that, but I'll try.
Alison, did you like Sydney?
I did. Everything
Really?
is so much more expensive there, but no, it was cool. We climbed the bridge. We went to the opera house. We did all the things. So
did you go to Bondi Beach?
We did. And actually when we were there were these crazy fires happening. It was many years ago. It was probably at least 5 or 6 years ago. And we went up to like Outdoor World. I forget where it was. But it was so smoky. We have pictures on Bondi Beach and it's just like this huge black cloud with a red sun. It was the craziest thing. We almost got stuck where we were because they were closing down roads and things like that. But yes, we saw Bondi Beach.
I was there yesterday. I saw whales jumping out of the water at Bondi. It was beautiful.
Wow.
They passed by us not long ago.
I just hope that we can get the Minicon down under eventually. The front page of the paper yesterday had that they're going to close the borders in Australia for a long time. So could be a couple of years before Minicon happens.
No matter what's going on.
All right, well, it's 8:30, so we've got LK coming in. Lauren and Allison are stepping out. Thank you both for opening up the show, getting the first innings underway.
All right, take care.
Yeah, it was fun.
Bye.
See you later.
I fucking got rid of them finally. Jesus.
I like that start.
Hey, baby. John's uninvited.
What's up?
You can leave that
I know he invited himself to all the shows.
Fuck off.
He put his name in all of the shows.
You. Get the fuck out of here.
You're next PJK. You'll be doing your own YouTube podcast soon and
just wait.
Uploading it.
Just wait.
I know he's about to pitch an idea to us today, right?
Yeah.
So
ahead,
do we get to decide? Do we get to decide if he does or not?
What?
Do we get to decide after he pitches? if he.
Well, he's not coming on this show. So
Yeah,
I
just
just
shut
set up the next sort of 13 days quickly, and then we'll get into the chat about the show. But basically, if you're watching the Minifan mashup, every night is a different lineup. There's a cast of about 30, 35 Minifans, all sort of slotting in. There's about 6 to 8 people every night, and it's going to be from 6 till 7. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I have started a band list, and look, it wasn't my intention to be divisive. As you all know, I'm a very friendly chap, and I would not want to cause trouble. But I started organising the thing. I started a group chat in Twitter. Added all the Minifans. We start getting the details together, and then a few messages bounce in. And then what does DJ K do? That little fucking asshole. He goes, "Oh, I'm too good for this chat. Just DM me if you need me." And he exits the chat to organise this show. So I wasn't going to ban anybody, but he was like, "I'm fucking." He's fucking prima donna. I think DJ K is talented, but he's also a fucking asshole. He's got a terrible attitude. He's got the biggest ego in the world. It's incredible. So, of course,
it was kind of a diva move. It was kind of a diva move.
He deserves a fucking DM to be invited on the show. He can go fuck himself. Sit on there, you little cunt.
I sent him a DM.
The second one, Fez. Okay. I banned Fez because I just don't like him. It was quite selfish. And I also think he can't talk. He's got a very bad speech impediment, which is not good on air. So I banned him. I was considering doing it because I don't want to be divisive. It's not about me. But then when Red said I should let Fez back on, that was the green light to completely ban him, because 2 weeks ago, Red was asking Zonka to be fucking let back in. So he's got a bad track record. But actually, I think Fez is okay. Like, DJ K is an arsehole. I think Fez is actually okay, and it's just a personal thing. We'll sort it out. A
little dose of power. You see what fucking happens.
Hold on.
Yes, okay.
I thought it was a joke when you start typing names. I laughed. I thought you were just joking.
It's not. This is very serious. Okay.
All right. So hold on. Stop with your monologue, okay? Because that was supposed to be the LK hour. It was supposed to be the Latin nights with LK. You guys always stole my show here. So let John explain why he's here. Come on.
So I was supposed to come here to say, to pitch to you guys, should, the Minifan Week in Review show be, brought back up, but I actually spoke to DEC. He said he's going to hand it off. So it's going to keep going. So we did get approved by DEC to do it. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it. So I came here to talk to the boys about what ideas you have, and I kind of just wanted to make sure people knew that.
But are you going to do the same audio format with the podcast, or are you going to?
That was going to be some of my questions. So DEC handed it off. I mean, I told them, like, let's schedule a time where we can, I could kind of pick your brain about it. But that's why I knew Mentors was going to be on. So I know he was advocating for me to do it, but I kind of want to see how. Would you guys want to see it more or less the same? Would you want to do it the same way? Us to do it the same way?
We really don't need your face anymore, man.
Shut up, okay? This is a question. This is a podcast.
I'm answering. Come on, man.
But no, seriously, I'm talking format. So like DEC talking, then they play a clip. DEC talking, then they play a clip.
Yeah, I think that works fine. You could also break it up into days if you wanted to, a bit like the rundown. Monday, play a couple of clips, then Tuesday play a couple of clips.
Oh, I like that idea a little bit.
So then people, if they wanted to listen to the whole episode, would know, okay,
right.
He was shitting on that person on Tuesday. I'll go and listen to that. That might be a good idea.
It's nice because sometimes I miss things, and when I listen to the week in review, I was like, oh yeah, I missed that. So it's cool to have that little reinforcement. Through the week in review.
Spanish language version might be good too.
Yeah, that too. Like with audios, I can help you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Put it on an audio book or something.
Yeah.
Other questions I have. So obviously, LK doesn't want to see my face anymore. But would you guys be down for video version of it too? Like, say we did, because who I'm going to have working with me, if we're allowed, this is going to be a question I'm going to bring up to them. If we can get the video of the podcast, would you guys want to see it where it's a video combo? I don't know what the legality of it is, if we can use the video, or I have to literally I was told this an hour ago. So this is me kind of just bouncing ideas off.
Audio. I would stick to audio.
You would stick to audio?
I like the idea because I don't really watch many of the clips, but I'm religious on the Week in Review. So if the Week in Review's like on YouTube, I'll watch it just to see how Kirk talks.
I mean, the facts of the matter is we would put it
on
on YouTube, and then, which we're going to talk about in a second, it's going to go audio too. So it's really not going to make a difference other than the fact you're going to see the clip or hear the clip. So I think if we're allowed to do that, I think that's a good idea. It's just kind of where it's to be released.
I think it'll be a lot easier for you to put together if it's an audio file.
If it's just audio. Well, that's
much
a fact. Yeah.
I mean, that may impact your other show, so you don't want that, right? So maybe the audio will be the way to go.
Which one? Okay.
Your Mean Cell Intel, Rundown. What else? The movie one.
So, and then the second thing is, where should it go? Should it go on what RSS? Should we make a new RSS for it? Should I ask DEC if he still wants to keep it on his RSS? Should we put it on? We have an RSS.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool to keep it. He just probably can't invest the time.
Okay, I think that would be good. I mean, it's his baby. It's his project. Why? I mean, he just doesn't have the time to do it. That's no problem. The Minifans will pick up where he left off, but I just didn't know where the final product should go.
And I think also he will keep doing the interviews, right? So it's not like he's gonna completely.
Well, that's all gonna stay the same. That's why I'm saying, like, what should we do? For...
I would leverage the fan base there. You have a bunch of
see what they say. Yeah,
it's so easy to start your own podcast feed that if you could just have a feed where you direct people, this is the Week in Review.
We could do. That's what I want to do. I would rather do it that way, or we would put it on DEC's, or like I said, Mintel Intel has one, but it's I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to take fucking Week in Review and put it on our, I don't want that fucking vision for people.
It does sound like the Mintels are trying to take over, but whatever.
Yeah, we are, man. So
I feel like there's more Mintels than Minifans now. Like,
it's gonna be the plan.
All right, so hold on.
That's pretty much the. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so enough of your pitch. We like.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So next topic is your height. You're definitely not 5'11". You're more of a 5'7".
This fucking guy always getting ahead of the story. Always getting ahead of the story. This fucking guy. This guy isn't as tall as a motherfucking Ford Flex. Anyone go measure a Ford Flex? This guy's the same height as a Ford Flex.
Oh, John, you love it because
I was putting my beer on top of his head all day.
Okay, yeah.
John, there's a rumor that, just before your dad clapped, you told him that you were a Mincel.
I did. I told him I'm a Mincel, and he said, and that he didn't say anything, and then he clapped right to the ground. Yeah. As he hit a terrible fairway shot, and I turn and laugh, at him, and he's just
falls to the floor.
My dad's a big dude too. Like I had to I couldn't do shit.
How's he doing now?
He's good. He's getting out tomorrow. So happy to hear.
Yep.
Are you
glad? Are you glad he didn't participate?
I'm going to be participating for the next round, but CMBA puke like that was fun. I thought it brought a little.
Were you embarrassed of him?
The show. Was I embarrassed of him?
Yeah.
No, he's the best. He knows how to spin anything into a win. Believe me. So, no, it was fun. It was fun to watch. I wish I was there. Like we were doing a little trash talking before, and Tim and Canton's always fun and stuff, but just is what it is. I was out of service. I couldn't let those guys know. I was sending them texts, but they weren't getting them because I was out of service.
Better without you. That's for sure.
Maybe next tournament, me and Menners will go on there. I think that'd be a funny little short crew, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
The little big men will be called.
Battle of the
men.
Battle of the midgets.
After 8 shots.
Yeah.
I'll answer the questions.
Yeah. So what's happened on the LK hour? Why did I jump on here other than that? Are you going to do talking in Spanish?
But that would be extremely boring. But I wanted to bring Nick in and just get a sneak peek of what happens behind the scenes. With like what goes around, or like what do they do once they get the show and get the promos going. Just get his take on that.
Ooh,
walk us through the process. I think it's something show related that nobody ever sees until the final product comes out.
I mean, it's actually a pretty simple process. So about around 10 to 10:15, or I guess 11 for you guys on the East Coast. So we'll get the show in the Dropbox file.
Nick in Australia.
That would be Tuesday. So
Yeah, Tuesday.
That's the day after, 14 hours later. Continue.
Great question.
bingo.
Anyway, so it's kind of an easy process. We just download the Dropbox file, and then honestly, it's on us. Like, so it's different for all of us. So for Will, the way we do it, we want to get like as you're watching the show or as you're listening to it, rather, we want to get those video promos out. So like in the same amount of time, you know what I mean? So if you hear a segment from the first part of the first part of the show, rather, we want to get a similar segment out so you can see what you're listening to. You know what I mean? And
How do you guys divide them up? Like, I know Will takes a little bit for Twitter. You know,
really,
you take a little bit.
Yeah, there really isn't a process of dividing them up. So for
Okay.
me, it's kind of different. So on Instagram, that's not really a platform where you want to post like 1,000 times per day because that's not going to help you algorithm wise. Honestly, that's going to fuck you. So what I try to do is I try to get the best segments or like the best calls on Instagram. So anything that'll get us the most engagement, that's what I really focus on. And then it's kind of the same way with DJK because his is a longer format. He can go up to like 2 hours if you want to. You put the whole show up. So
Right.
Yeah.
it's
So
with all of us.
do you watch the show at its entirety, or you just skip through and try to find something?
Yeah, that's another thing that like when Will does it, he stops like as soon as he hears what he thinks would be a good promo, he will immediately cut it up. But for me, I always wait for the entire show just so I can get a glimpse of what's the best and what will work the best on Instagram because that's the platform.
Yeah, you have time to kind of pick and choose, whereas Twitter, you want quick, fast
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly. And it's just because Instagram, you can see a post from Instagram from 2 days ago like pop up in your hand.
Yep.
The algorithms are so different.
And that's the reason it's so hard to promote the show on Instagram. But yeah, it's different in that way. So I have a lot more time. Like there's some days, like for right now, I'm working a lot. I work 2 other jobs besides this internship. So some days I don't get to it till like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. my time. So, which I'm thankful that's why I'm on Instagram. So I have a little bit more time to collect myself and do the promos.
Do you find any difference in watching the video of the recorded episode versus listening through the podcast?
I love seeing, honestly, not really, besides Blind Mike's reactions are the best. I love
claw.
And the fucking claw. I look through the claw every single day. Like a lot of times I'll just scroll through the entire thing.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
Just a little.
That's all I do. That's all I do.
The bizarre thing I've ever seen, by the way.
There's no one that works harder than Mike's cord.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I know he keeps doing this, right? It's like it's
constantly being fiddled with.
Constant.
So Nick, were you the one that did the counter of how many times Kirk used the?
All right, say that again. My headphones fucked up.
Were you the one that did the counter for how many times Kirk cleaned his hand with hand sanitizer? Was that you?
Yeah, that was.
You need to do one with Mike doing the claw. You know how many times in an episode he does the claw.
I wanted to do that, but I think he's like that with that too with the hms. You know.
Yeah, the hum. You did the count too, right?
I did.
You're good. You do good on the Instagram. I think you do a good job.
I think I do, but he doesn't do those little nervous clutches or those little nervous ticks as much. So, yeah, but
so when Steve gets a cam, is he gonna be fair game as well? Since he's your boss, are you gonna be feel comfortable?
We've missed so many amazing Steve moments.
Yeah,
like especially when they were just screaming back and forth at each other about that guest show.
The Mr. Guest.
That would have been the perfect Steve cam moment, but apparently people doesn't want to pay for Steve to have another cam.
So they just give you the raw footage of the 2 angles, and then you work with it from there. And there's no audio on that, I assume. Yeah, that's
no audio.
Cool.
No, there's
audio.
Right?
The audio would match up.
Manners is falling asleep over here, guys.
Go ahead.
I know, Manners.
All right,
come save us.
Woo!
All right, come on, go, Manners, go, say something. Go ahead.
Wait, that's a quick thing.
Question, okay.
Wait, Nick, put your glasses back on.
Save us, please.
Right, Nick, put your glasses back on. I want to just see if John from Scranton sees this as well.
Let me see.
Wait, does he look like Robbie Fox?
That's funny. That's funny. Kinda. You're bigger than Robbie Fox. Yeah, Nick is kind of cut.
Yeah.
Robbie Fox is the size of a toothpick.
Yeah, Robbie Fox a little bit. I like that guy. He does good content. He works hard, but yeah, he's a pussy.
Yeah, he's a little bitch. So Manners,
how long have we got you as an intern for? That's what I'm curious. When do you think your stint at the KMS show will come to an end and you hit the workforce?
Very soon, not very soon, fairly soon, I'd say.
Okay.
Going on Will. He's got like another year.
Will here, he's gonna work for free for the rest of his life. No,
Jeez, thanks.
I'd probably say till like maybe the end of July.
When do you graduate?
I actually just did.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah, but obviously
Nice.
it's worse. Sorry, my headphones are really fucking up.
All right, well, fuck off then. We're really proud of you.
We love you, Nick.
Really
You're
great-
always the
great
most
job on
in my
Instagram.
heart, baby.
Well done, little guy.
Thank you.
I love you, baby.
Steve,
I have to say, I did find it kind of ironic watching the Barstool rundown and Kirk being completely eviscerated for shitting on advertisers because, you know, I suffered an extremely public form after shitting on one particular advertiser. I was surprised that Kirk would forget that maybe the golden rule is don't shit on advertisers.
Careful, you don't want to get down on that knee again, Manners. You don't want to get down on that fucking
Nick,
knee
can you
again.
please mute manners now? Please? Little
I
self-preservation.
need your
here.
shot.
The OK hour is going to get canceled because
Yeah, yeah.
You need to keep Men's live going. I need that to
No,
keep
but you know-
all right?
All right,
wish brain cancer on Jamie again or something.
in all seriousness, the fucking hypocrisy, right, of them talking about everything except Ellie calling Kirk a racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, we touched on it in the first half.
No, that's
Right.
fucked up that they didn't talk about that. I brought that
Yeah.
up on our show yesterday.
Like,
Like,
why-
at the end
why
of
is
the
he
day,
going
nothing
after
has been mentioned about that.
Yeah, it's
only
like, why
thing
is he going after it?
Yeah, the only thing I did see though, Portnoy has got a minor point in the fact that at some point you just got to let shit go. You know, at some point you've just got to say, I got to move on. Like Kirk, I know that's part of his charm that he can't do that, and that's why we all listen to him because he's passionate and things really get under his skin, and it's great to listen to. But I don't know. I think at some point you just got to move on for your own health. In Kirk's, and clearly, K Marco, something's happening in the back. You know, It's not being done publicly. Erica said on her podcast she wants to restructure the whole fucking editing process because of this. So I'm Team Kirk. I still think at some point you got to back off and let things play out. That doesn't sound good on air, like if Kirk were to do that, but for his own health, I think that's maybe sensible.
Especially since nothing's going to change. They're not going to fire K Marco. They're loyal to this douchebag that shit at his job just because he's been there from the start. Like, they're not going to get rid of him. Kirk's just got to suck it up, move on, keep talking shit about him because he's a shit person. He's a shit human
And they
being,
got him changed. They got Hubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know
they got
Kirk did say he's going to do a little writing over this little break here. That would be fucking awesome. Can you imagine some Kirk vlogs?
The only thing that I wonder if he should play the long game by just like not completely forgetting, but just keep an eye on K Marco. But just like writing down all the shit that he does and keep amplifying. Because he's gonna do something wrong again, and that's how Kirk will get him. Not by demanding now, but a longer period of time. And the other thing is, I wonder if both sides should take a step back and try to make amends. Now, I think there's pros of being Barstools. There's definitely pros of being on their own. But maybe they should give it a shot.
Where do you guys stand on that, on the Barstool or subscription timing wise?
I don't know if you've noticed that I've changed from Aussie Stoolie to Aussie Minifan 1. Just
I already took that off your manners. You're now number 2.
I've unfollowed everyone at Basketball that I was following except for the Speaking Chicklets just because fuck them, man. They want to treat the greatest podcaster in the world like shit. Like, fuck ya.
BA says this all the time. He always says Minifans are Kirk is stealing Barstool fans and making Minifans out of them. But there's not many Barstool fans left that are coming over to Kirk. It's dwindling. Mincel is a dying breed right now. So
go ahead. One thing that I think drove to me was when Kirk said they never accepted us.
What drove to you? Okay. You said one thing drove to me.
Drove home.
I'm sorry.
When he said they never accepted us as a fan base, right? They always treated us different, and maybe they didn't start on the right foot, and we didn't do anything to be appreciated. So that's why I say maybe taking a step back and hitting reset might not be a bad idea.
It's amazing how many people at Barstool have no idea about Kirk's world. I mean,
No,
important.
they talk about it.
The head of content, the CEO of the business, don't know what Kirk does, what his world's about, and they can't understand why it would drive him mad. A, some fucking little bitch calls him a racist and all his fans. And two, they publish a blog by some fucking serial troll completely attacking Kirk's personality that plays into a whole, backstory where Kirk has been painted as this racist asshole, which is completely not true. And for Kirk and for Erica and Dave to be like, not really understand the gravity of that is a little bit perplexing.
Wait, what would Portnoy have done if it cost Kirk sponsors? Like, it actually cost them money. Like, he says, oh, yeah, they're not making any money. Well, that's because they don't do anything for him and they don't help Steve out. But imagine if he started losing more money because this blog that this dickhead put up ends up costing Kirk sponsors. Would he have fired K. Marco then? He always talks about how he hates when people cost the company money.
And I was surprised on how quick Erica said, "Oh, I'm sorry, this didn't work out," and Kirk wasn't even fired.
They're just ready.
Are you really accepting him to just go? It's like, what the hell.
They're like ready for it. She was mentally prepared for the day that Kirk finally leaves, and it's going to happen.
Well, would you guys not be? I mean, Kirk's a wild card. You got to be.
Sure,
you got to have the red button. I mean, they're just prepared like that, but they didn't fight for Kirk. This is the first time I saw Barstool not fight for him.
Yeah. Telling him to scrub.
I didn't like it. I know. So there's times in the past where the Minifans have fought with Barstool, but this is the first time when there was an outside attack that they didn't fight for Kirk.
That's right.
I just saw that for the first time.
My concern for the subscription service, though, is, and I'm curious your three opinions on this. Like, we're super fans. I'm a Kirk P1 day one. I would pay every week for his show. That's not a question. So a subscription service is fine for us. But I worry about the sort of fans that are kind of in between. Like, I listen to some podcasts, I really like them, and if they said we're moving to a sub service, I'd probably just ditch it and find it.
No,
how many people there are in the world?
How many people in between do you think? Do you really think Kirk has in between fans? Really?
I think you're all in or you're all out.
You're all in or you're fucking
you can't be
out,
all
man.
in, man. Yeah.
I try to be in between for the first week of this show when I learn about it, and it doesn't work. You need every day.
And it will definitely affect. It will definitely affect the
think of it.
No, the ability of getting new fans, right? So by being subscription, for sure.
But if they bring out like a free podcast, like once a week they do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously for us, we can't just deal with the free one. You have to be in the know, but it might help with get new people in. It's like, hey, this is actually pretty fucking cool. I'm going to subscribe now.
A good weekly review, right?
Yeah, I want to be like DEC.
There we go.
I think that was funny this week. How many people were saying that? That clip of me was so fucking cringeworthy, taking out of context, but it was funny. When they slowed it down and it was sounding like I was hammered, which it was, but really drunk, it was so fucking funny, man.
And how about Barstool posting that video of people like putting the house on fire?
Okay, so we talked about that on our show yesterday. So we had two. How much time do we have? 53. We had two video or posts by Barstool yesterday that got deleted. One, the Kirk saying what about his fans. So that's from the Viva La Steel account. I don't know if you guys know that. Viva La Steel account is run by Tommy. Yep. It's a funny troll. It's funny. Like, Tommy has the power to tweet that out from that account. It's funny. It's just taking Kirk out of context.
Yeah, that was fine.
The deleting is what I have a problem with. Like, it's the delete. Yeah. Like, it was like a terrible like edit job. So they made it look like it was just a troll. Like, you know what I mean? But
the burning house one.
The burning house, that's the next one they deleted. Yeah. So what the fuck was that? It had like a Jay-Z lyric and then a man throwing a Molotov cocktail into somebody.
I mean, it's what Ellie wants, right? She supports burning houses down. So
she said, she agrees with that. So
I mean, maybe that's the new Barstool.
I guess. I mean, but it's not the new Barstool because then it got deleted. So I guess people that think that way have power to tweet things and now they don't. Like, nothing was ever said about it then. Like, it's what's going on over there. I think I said this yesterday. I think Barstool has lost their mind during COVID. I think they've lost their mind.
It's just hypocrisy. That's the annoying thing. The way they run the blog is so haphazard now. They'll put up some shit. They won't put up other shit. Then they post those things. Just you got to get the shit together.
They do. I think they do.
Needs to go.
I think it's because Dave's not in the office. When Dave's in the office, they all sit in that little funnel, and it all runs through him. And now he's stuck on that computer, being Davey Day Trader, not paying attention to content, and it's running wild on him.
Hey, Benners, are you checking cricket scores? What are you doing there?
Yes.
Concentrate here.
Yeah,
Jamie, quick update.
Chris is very upset about being banned. He thinks I can't take the heat, which is not true.
Manners, I already sent him the links.
As I said, I don't really want to exclude someone. I'm like, people think I'm an asshole, and I am, but I still. Yeah, I like the Minifan community, even Fairs and DJK. They're okay. I did listen to a bit of DJK's show. I don't know if you've seen it. He's doing
it.
That's good.
I like the fact that doing an audio show and editing it nice and tightly,
I liked it.
And then putting it up, and then comparing it to my morning show, saying I'm getting so much more views than your morning show. Just one thing, DJK. When I did my morning show, I was going up against the Kirk Minahan show because I decided to launch a show as soon as they switched to 6 a.m. releases the night or even midnight before. So, as if you're going to watch my morning show when Kirk's on offer. Even I know that. So, DJK, if I did a morning show right now with no show on, I'm sure it would do just as good as yours, you little fuckhead.
One thing that I don't understand, why it's only audio. And those ridiculous pictures.
Because you get to see those gorgeous pictures of him.
Those ridiculous pictures, yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, he cuts it down so it sounds like he's doesn't make any mistakes. That's all.
No, but in all fairness, he's doing a great job with the other account.
And what he's doing a good job. He puts Barstool at the front of every video. So when you go into YouTube and put Barstool,
that's how you do it, though.
It's growth hacking.
That's a good thing, though. It's really good getting those views. And I always said you need something for people who want to, a little taste of the show so they come and listen to it. And I think that's been a real positive step.
So Jamie, where's the Spanish sentences that you were practicing? I want to hear now.
Oh, yeah, that was just bullshit.
Come on. I was expecting for it.
If I do it, you're going to talk back, and I'm going to be like, okay.
Jamie, how's our rugby? Before we get out of here, how's our rugby team doing, Jamie?
Jamie, it's different to when you're on the normal shows when your responses.
What?
What an asshole!
You told me to say nothing.
This guy has 2 minutes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So the Warriors got thrashed by the Bunnies the other week, 40-12, and that's their coach. We're going to get a good coach, and he's going to turn the club around. It's going to be good culture, and hopefully we'll improve.
All right. So tomorrow night on the Minifan Mashup at 6:00, we had Adam from the Jew, TJ Hubbard, Madawaska Rob, and Joe. Who's Joe?
Maybe Joe Hennessy. That would be fucking insane.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
And then at 6:30, we've got John from Scranton again.
Oh no, we're doing our Game of Thrones show tomorrow. Me, Ned Stark, and BAT.
Okay, so it's special. What is it? Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones show. Yep.
Thursdays, full lineup again. Me, MHB Obese, and Ned Snark kicking things off. So tune in every night. It's going to be, as I said, a variation of talent and entertainment. So yeah,
and sexiness.
A bit of madness.
Tune into the F1 show next week where we try to convince John from Scranton to be an F1 fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm still going live tomorrow night, 10 p.m.
Tomorrow El Fuego is back at some time.
Donde estás el fuego?
The one that we shot in Florida, so don't miss it.
Hey, nice.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.